It is Thursday, May 7th, and it is now 2 p.m. Thanks for joining us here in the 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Justin Gehrts. It's been a cool day for us, but at least we've had a lot of sunshine around the area. Certainly a nice thing to see. Of course, our weather has been fairly quiet aside from the cool temperatures as of late. And really, we can expect the overall cool pattern to continue for quite a while, I'm afraid to say. As you see here, it is going to be a bright day. Of course, you've seen that already, but temperatures are only going to be up around 60 for a high this afternoon. Shower chances return mainly for tonight, maybe a couple during the day tomorrow. Better chance with the upcoming system, though, is tomorrow night into very early on Saturday. Sunday, we still have some questions on how that's going to evolve, so you want to just stay with us as we keep that forecast updated. Satellite picture shows not much happening. These little dots here indicating those little puffy fair weather clouds that have developed. That's about all we have right now, so it is a pretty quiet day for us. Now, even though it's cool, remember, UV index doesn't care what the temperature is. It's just how much sunshine there is and what the angle is. And since it is the first part of May, we're only 6 weeks away from the first day of summer when the sun is going to be its strongest. So it's really a thing that you have to be thinking about even on these cool days. UV index is a very high 8 for today. Burn time, less than 20 minutes or so. So you want to have on that sunscreen. Same story on Saturday afternoon, too, when we're a little bit warmer at 72 for a high. Speaking of those highs, there you see, we're going to be near or below average for a while here. In fact, the only day that we're around average, Saturday with 72 on the board. Today, we're about 12 degrees short of average. Next Monday, about 13 degrees below average. So it looks like we may be turning a corner in about 10 days or so. Until then, plan on more below average temperatures than not. Also thought I'd take a look and see May days with a high below 60 degrees by each day of the month since 1879. At the beginning of the month, it's happened about 35 times since 1879, so about 20% of the time you have that happen. But then by the end of May, it's far less common, which you would expect, but it's also a sign of hope for us that if you're just ready and waiting for us to get out of the cool temperatures, it becomes less and less likely to have such cool readings as we get further into the month. All right, here's your hour-by-hour forecast. There we see that mainly clear sky. Things are pretty quiet the rest of the day. Again, just cool out there. Overnight, we'll see a weak disturbance work by. More clouds, maybe a passing shower or a few sprinkles. Not going to be a big deal for us. Now, throughout the day tomorrow, we'll plan for a mostly cloudy sky, and any of those clouds could squeeze out a brief shower. Again, it's not going to amount to a whole lot. Best chance of rain with this system is going to be coming late Friday evening and especially Friday night. There you see these areas of rain lifting across the area. Much of this activity is going to be winding down by pretty early on Saturday. Now, this forecast is showing it still hanging around yet at 10 o'clock in our eastern towns Saturday morning. I think it's probably going to be farther east than this. That said, don't be surprised if we have a couple of stragglers hanging on through mid-morning, but then during the afternoon we clear off a nice bit, so it should be a partly cloudy day overall for Saturday. As far as how much rain to expect for Friday evening and night into early Saturday, anywhere you see the blue, that indicates perhaps a ½ inch of rain. I think it's going to be less than what we had with this most recent system earlier this week, but again, I wouldn't be surprised if some of us are a little over a ½ inch. Lower amounts as you head farther toward the south. All right, let's talk about Sunday. We got Mother's Day. We have OSU commencement starting at noon. You're all wondering, okay, what are things looking like? As I mentioned earlier, there are still some questions, but here's what we do know. Will there be some periods of showers? Yes. As far as timing goes, right now it looks like the later in the day, the better our chances, as it looks right now. That may shift a little bit, so just keep up with our forecast, have the 10 TV app, and of course, join us here on 10 TV over the air or stream. Columbus. We're at 58 in Lancaster, right now 59 MacArthur, 58 Marysville, so deep into the 50s with that gentle northwest wind continuing. Look off to the west, though. These little streamlines, they're from the southwest. We see 60s out toward Illinois. That's the milder air, relatively speaking, that pushes our direction as we head into the weekend here. 60 for a high today, lots of sunshine. Best chance of any showers tomorrow is mainly late with 64 for a high. As we look ahead towards Saturday, showers end early, 72 for a high in the afternoon. Sunday's going to be a cooler one for us with highs around 63, mostly cloudy skies when it's not raining. Monday, 60 for a high. Then we're back in the mid-60s toward Tuesday and Wednesday as another weather system moves back into the area. So our cool and somewhat unsettled weather pattern does continue for probably about the next 10 days before things start to shift a little bit as we get toward maybe the 17th or so of May. Now, as I mentioned, our weather here, thankfully, has been pretty quiet. However, severe weather was pretty common up until recently, and it's been renewed across parts of the South. In fact, we have severe weather that tore through parts of the South on Wednesday and Wednesday night, bringing heavy rain, flooding, and tornadoes to the region.
Right through there. I just missed it, man. You couldn't have got in through it. Look at that. That sucker came right through there, bro.
This video here shows several trees toppled onto a highway after a violent tornado passed through Mississippi. Damage took place in Brookhaven, which is in southern Mississippi, about an hour south of Jackson. And with more on the storm damage from this round of storms, Reed Binion reports from Mississippi.
55, southbound. It's crazy.
Multiple tornadoes ripped through Mississippi overnight, leaving a trail of destroyed homes and injured victims in their wake.
That sucker came right through there, bro. We can't even get through here, bro.
One massive twister toppling trees and blocking parts of a highway.
It knocked all this down. Ain't no power lines or nothing out this way.
The storms also knocked down power lines, with tens of thousands of homes and businesses across Mississippi without power as of late Wednesday, according to poweroutage.us. Collapsed trees also blocking the roadway next to a hard-hit mobile home park. There were also reports of residents trapped, but dangerous conditions slowed rescue efforts, authorities said. The extreme weather impacted large portions of the South, including thunderstorms, and at one point a flood watch in place for more than 10 million people. Parts of Alabama saw severe flooding. In Montgomery Wednesday, the State House had to be evacuated because of flooding during local storms. This as other regions struggle to recover from severe weather in their communities.
Coming back in, we still had 6 inches of water around the house.
Residents in parts of Wisconsin picking up the pieces as water levels start returning to normal after last month's flooding.
At one point, there was 3 feet of water in there from looking at flood lines.
I'm Reed Binion reporting.
California grows many crops, including cherries, but a poorly timed spring rain left some of the crop to rot, destroying the harvest. We're taking you to San Joaquin County to hear from those affected.
A perfect storm hitting farmers in what many consider the cherry capital of the world.
When you can't harvest, I mean, that's a hit for that year that you're not going to recover.
Drew Cheney lives in Linden, a small rural community a half-hour east of Lodi. He's farmed cherries for decades, but a recent spring storm left his crop destroyed.
When you have that much rain in that long a period, you can't protect every cherry all the time, and so they're going to split.
Rain at the wrong time before harvest can cause cherries to split and quickly mold on the branches.
For the commercial block here, no, it's done.
He had one saving grace. His You Pick orchard, where the community can come and pick their own cherries, survived the storm since ripening hit right after the rain fell.
The fruit is just absolutely gorgeous. What I like about it, it's just rich, it's sweet, it's beautiful, and just are perfect. They taste so good.
The San Joaquin County Farm Bureau says the damage was widespread, but also inconsistent.
Some people got hammered and some people wasn't so bad. From what I'm hearing is field reps are saying probably right around 30% loss.
That means there could be a disaster declaration, all based on what the Agriculture Commission sees fit.
We analyzed them and we're in a really fortunate position. I think we have roughly anywhere between 10 to 15% rain damage.
James Cinciolo was lucky. He says most of his crop in Lodi survived, enough to put out in production and enough to host his own U-Pick.
There's still a plethora of beautiful fruit.
Between extreme weather and market fluctuations over the past few years, any support from the USDA is more than welcome.
There's truckers, there's box makers, there's packers, there's just a plethora of support staff and people that are necessary to pull off a harvest as large as what cherry harvest is in San Joaquin County and for the San Joaquin Valley as a whole.
And this season's late rain was the cherry on top.
You put so much love into it that you want it to succeed. And when you can't harvest it and you can't share that with people, it's just, it really hurts. It hurts.
All right, finally today, let's look at some new video into us here at 10 TV. According to CBS News Colorado, a late season snowstorm hit that state Monday night and bringing some rain and snow to the Denver metro along with a front range on Tuesday. You can see just how wet that snow looks, just sticking to everything. Yeah, that rain, as I mentioned, turned to snow Tuesday evening, prompting several school districts to cancel classes for the day on Wednesday. Mountain community of Estes Park saw beautiful blankets of snow Wednesday morning. There you see it really sticking there, that heavy wet snow weighing down. Won't take long, though, for that to all melt away because, of course, it is early May, so they won't see that sticking around for very long. By the way, here in Columbus, today's date is the date of the latest measurable snow on record, 0.8 of an inch back in 1989. All right, NASA dropped over 12,000 new images from the Artemis 2 mission on Monday. The images were posted to a Gateway to Astronaut Photography on Earth page, courtesy of NASA's Johnson Space Center and the International Space Station program. That site allows people to browse galleries of astronauts' photographs of Earth to pictures of cities, volcanoes, glaciers, hurricanes, and time-lapse videos. These spectacular images show new glimpses of the rare view the astronauts saw during their mission around the moon back in early April. At their farthest point, the crew traveled more than 250,000 miles from Earth, setting a record for the greatest distance humans have traveled in space, observing the lunar surface like never before. Under Artemis, NASA will send astronauts on increasingly complex missions to explore the moon for scientific discovery, economic benefit, and to prepare for future human missions to Mars. Just remarkable photos there. Yeah, over, I believe, 12,000 new photos. So if you got some time, go check them out because things are looking pretty good there. All right, well, join us once again here at 4 o'clock. We'll be having the latest weather updates with Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer. Until then, have a great afternoon.